could accept the fact that this city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion.
What do you mean, biblical? What he means is Old Testament, man. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling. Hordes of dark earthquakes, volcanoes. Hey, human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. That's hysteria.
Broadcasting live, deep from an underground military bunker or a spaceship high above the plane of Earth. Setting the standard and raising the bar from the most trusted puppet in media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam NewsMan. And this is Sam-The-Vote-A-Thon. Yes, we're back. We were supposed to be here last night. However, there's been storms that have been raging around the area, usually in the evenings. And while we did have power last night, our old friends over at Xfinity said that we had an outage. And it was an outage that lasted quite a while. In fact, today, for half of the day, there was no internet here either. So it was blinking on and off. So hopefully this stream stays live and active throughout the course of the evening. At least that's the goal. So, but it is our goal here to try to be here every single night from Sunday through Thursday. And we will be, the producer, old Jordan, who's backstage at the moment. He was mentioning that maybe we should try to do something Friday. Now, I'm not going to make any promises, but that might be something that's on the table just to make up for last night. So apologies, of course, to our friend Thomas over at Paranoid American, who was supposed to be with us last night. However, like I said, the internet gods decided otherwise. And because of that, we have to reschedule, but I believe that we will have Thomas from Paranoid American. Are we allowed to use his government name? Just the first name. Okay, all right. All right, that's fine. But we're scheduled to have him this Thursday. And tomorrow I'm really excited because we will be having two people who I have gotten to know over the last couple of years who are part of the toy action figure community. Both have amazing YouTube channels that are just growing by leaps and bounds. And they'll be with us tomorrow night. And we'll be talking about their little excursion over to San Diego Comic-Con. So even though we'll be talking the news tonight, politics, well, more likely just the news tonight, the happenings of the day. Tomorrow we'll take a break from the news and we'll talk about San Diego Comic-Con, what they saw, and all that fun stuff. I used to do Comic-Cons years ago. That's where I started. I started with comic conventions. And, the first celebrity that I ever interviewed, you know who that was? It was Lou Ferrigno. It was the Hulk. Yeah. What happened is, was that the cat? I guess I saw the cat. I guess the cat took out the eyeballs. Anyways, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. Okay. It's just distractions, ladies and gentlemen. But one of the things, like I said, that the first interview that I ever did, you behave over there. I see you. Don't you do anything crazy now, okay? Listen, I got a show to do. Don't look at me like that. Cats. But okay, so back to oh yes, the you never know about them. You have to be worried because I have felt, right? So you never know if the cat might try to scratch me, jump on my back or something. But yeah, so the first person that I ever interviewed was Lou Ferrigno. And that was very interesting because I was just standing over in the corner and he waves me over. And I looked at my videographer at the time and I said, well, here you go. Let's get to rolling. And so I started interviewing the Hulk. And I realized that, hey, you know what? If I can interview the Hulk, then I could probably interview anybody. So that was very interesting. And that was a while back. Like I said, I used to do the whole convention thing years and years ago. But I stopped doing it just because it got too much. The grifting and all of that stuff. I just got tired of it. And but I will be having two people on tomorrow night. We'll be talking about San Diego Comic-Con and all of that fun stuff. And I do see a couple of people here in the chat. Crawfish Cigarette, Dead Man 1, Make America Green Again as well. Divulgence Podcast, shout out to you, sir. People who are there in the chat. If you do have anything you want to chat about, you want to talk about, make sure you do chat. Put it in the chat. And if it comes across my desk and I see it, then I will definitely, I'll talk about it. MAGA Matcha Libertarians 4204. Cheers, everybody, is what he's saying. We've got about 35 people here joining us so far across all social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. That's at Sam Newsman, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And also being mirrored on Exertus's channels as well. Tip of the cap to Exertus. So, yes, Lou Ferrigno, born November 9th, 1951. An American actor and retired professional bodybuilder. He was very nice. And, I told myself after that interview, I said, well, self, if I can sit there and interview the Hulk, well, I know that I can interview anybody. And so I did spend quite a bit of time on the convention circuit, going to different conventions around, but no longer. But like I said, we will have some people joining us tomorrow to talk about San Diego Comic-Con, their adventures there, and what they thought was really great. Action figures and toys, all that fun stuff and the like. Now, of course, one of the things that we are doing, we have over 40 people now watching. What we need you to do is just text that little number down there on the little ticker. So that little ticker says hashtag Sam the Vote. What you want to do is text 127-2804-430-5505. That's 127-2804-430-5505. And you want to be able to do that, of course, every single day between now and August the 3rd. Shout out to Collect to Disconnect. I see you there too, sir. Yes, 127-2804-430-5505. You want to do that on your cell phone, and you want to do that on every cell phone in your house. So grab every other cell phone and text that number to it as well. And then from there, when you go to work every day, grab every cell phone from all your coworkers, text that as well. We'll text it on theirs as well. But there is another way you can vote. Let's see here. You can pull that up right here. Go.richmond.com/thebest. That's go.richmond.com/thebest. And when you go to this website, you can also vote with your email address. So you can vote once a day with your cell phone, once a day with your email address. And if you have 5 or 6 different email addresses, well, you know what to do. But what you want to do is you want to scroll down to entertainment. When you scroll down to entertainment, you want to click on Best Local Morning Radio Show. Shout out to Resonate, and I see Resonate there in the chat as well. But you want to click on Sam Newsman WDCE. When you do that, it'll come up with a little list of information you got to put in. But that allows you to vote a second time every day. So you can vote once, like I said, with your cell phone by texting 127. And then you can also do it with your email address by going to go.richmond.com/thebest entertainment. Scroll down to Best Local Morning Radio Show and then click on my name. And from there, you'll be able to vote twice. And but the idea is, of course, is to maximize the vote. How do you do that? By grabbing every single cell phone that you can get your hands on. So Collected Disconnect said, I just voted on both my wife and my ex-wife's phone. Sam, why do you have both your wives? Well, hey, listen, never mind. I'm not going to get into it. Thank you for the votes, Collected Disconnect. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you voting. But everybody, if you don't mind, just go ahead and text 1272 804 430 5505. Because what that is the key. The key to what? The key to hack the planet for broadcast history. What do I mean by that? Well, we have a radio show every Saturday morning. Starts about 9:30. We play cartoon themes. We also play, movie themes, video game themes, sitcom themes. And then I talk about the news of the day. But that's every Saturday morning. Go to WDCE.org or WDCE.net. And you'll be able to listen to that show live. We also do the live streaming at 11 o'clock as well. But our little show is only on an 8-mile signal. The last couple of years, 2 years ago, we were number 3. Last year, we were number 2. And this year, with your help by texting that little number down there, we might be able to cross the finish line, finish the story, if you will, and get first place. Now, then you know what that means. We'll be beating all of the corporate radio shows. You know, the top 40 shows, the hip-hop shows. What else? The talk shows. Whole bunch of other shows that are up for that award. But if you continue just to text that little number there, we might cross the finish line, and that will, it'll be a thing of beauty. It'll be broadcast history. Because like I said, it's only a little small 8-mile signal, independent show. We don't have the big corporate radio bucks that the big dogs have. But just because I'm not necessarily a big dog doesn't mean that I'm going to stay on the porch. Oh, I'm running with the big dogs. In fact, the big dogs are running with me. And so, well, you know, hey, listen, sometimes you just got to pat yourself on the back, you know? And what you just need to do is continue just to text that number every single day. Divulge's podcast says that he voted. So make sure that all of you continue to vote. And that'll help us out. Like I said, it's the key to hack the planet. Hack the planet for what? Broadcast history. Now, you know, I had a bunch of other stories lined up earlier today. And sometimes with the news cycle, a curveball just happens. Sometimes it's something that is breaking news. Sometimes it's just like, I'm just going to scrap everything and just talk about something else entirely. But today, we have a little bit of a tragedy, ladies and gentlemen. And we do have to go over, a few things that just recently happened. This is from the Drudge Report. This is a news aggregate. Just to catch you all up to speed. What a news aggregate does is it takes news articles from all over and places them in one easy-to-find spot. So one of the things you can do, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to this website, click on some of these articles, and it'll show you, and those will be some of the articles that we're going to be going over. Now, as you can see, what we have here, like I said, is just very, very, very tragic. We had an active shooter that targeted an office in New York City. Developing right now, there are 5 dead. Bloodbath on Park Avenue. And that is a picture of the gunman, which we will get into in another article here shortly. But when you click on that first article, not that one near the top, but yeah, look at that. That's terrible. That's the gun that he was using. That is a office that is barricading themselves with all types of furniture. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just tragic. Tragic, tragic, tragic. Not something, like I said, that we had on the dock today. So, but yeah, this first article, shooter targets office in NYC. This goes to the New York Times. Now, I'm not sure that if the whole article will be able to be seen on screen, but one of the things that it says at least 5 people killed, including a police officer killed in a Manhattan office building shooting. Officer killed and others are shot at Park Avenue office tower. The gunman was dead, the police said, and the building was in lockdown Monday evening. Now, this was late during the evening, and this is updated. Now, this is updated about 50 minutes ago. So this is happening in real time, ladies and gentlemen, with these updates. But this is very tragic, very tragic. And what we have is a police officer was killed, and 4 other people now are dead and were shot Monday in Midtown Manhattan office building that houses several financial and other firms, according to law enforcement officials. The police did not immediately provide details of the shooting, including the condition of other people who were shot, but we do know now, ladies and gentlemen, that there are 5 people currently that are dead. Let's see here. The police commissioner has given a little something. She says the scene has been contained. The lone shooter has been neutralized. That is from the police commissioner. Despite that, a lockdown in the building remained in place. For the bill, a lockdown has been remained in place in the building. Police have identified the gunman as Shane Devon Tamura, age 27, of Las Vegas. According to law officials briefed in the matter, he died on the 33rd, floor offices of Rudin Management real estate firm, according to a person with knowledge of the circumstances of his death. The shooting occurred roughly at about 6 p.m. inside the building. This was at 345 Park Avenue. That's between 51st Street and 52nd Street. By 6:10, dozens of officers had flooded the area, according to a witness. Others with offices in the building include the investment giant Blackstone, the National Football League, and the accounting and financial advisory firm KPMG. NFL staff members were sheltering in place, awaiting clearance from the police to leave. By about 7 p.m., people had begun to march out of the building in small groups with their hands raised. A short time later, with police helicopters hovering, a larger group that left the building. Some ran as fast as they could. Others walked, seemingly unfazed by what was going on around them. Nearby buildings that had also been on lockdown began to empty as well, with many people leaving with their hands raised, presumably to show that they were not armed. A Blackstone employee who works on the 31st floor said that the workers there heard a loud bang and thud coming from above. They shrugged it off until they got an email notifying them of a shooter in the building. In a follow-up email, the employee said they were told to evacuate the building, but by then, police officers were leading people downstairs a floor at a time in elevators. Hours after the shooting, roadways were closed from East 55th Street to East 48th Street. Emergency personnel from the police department and fire department stood by as helicopters continue to hover over the area. Now, this is from about a few moments ago. Another update: reporters and onlookers have gathered outside the Weill Cornell Medical Center, where police officials are setting up for a news conference. Among the crowd are a couple of people here. A couple flew up to New York from Florida this evening and rushed to the hospital when they arrived. They were told that visits had been canceled. This is very tragedy. People having babies. This is, just like I said, very, very sad. New York Senators Chuck Schumer and Kristen Gillibrand, both Democrats, posted on social media that they were praying for those affected by the shooting. We must do more to stop gun violence in America. Of course, they're going to politicize that. But on the 31st floor where the violence occurred, employees of the asset manager, they heard a loud bang. We already went through all of that. Police officers approaching the building. So it just seems that it just continues to go on and on. With that. Now, that, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, that was the New York Times. And I think we do have the New York Post article as well. Resonate says Blackstone is a Steven Schwarzman creation. So, but okay, here we do have the the New York Post article. Let's see if we can bring that up. Let me see here. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening in real time almost, if you will. Rifle-toting in New York City shooter Shane Tamura kills 5, including an NYPD officer. Injures several before turning gun on himself at Blackstone in the NFL headquarters. Like we were just saying, 1 police officer, 4 other people were shot and killed. Several others have been injured by a crazed gunman. 27-year-old barged into the 44-story building which houses Blackstone NFL headquarters. We already just went through some of that. But footage posted on social media shows bystanders running for their lives. Outside of the buildings, workers were also seen filing out, like we said, with their hands up outside of the high-rise. Nice catch with the 33rd floor, says Resonate. Listen, I mean, I see those things. Very, very interesting. Scroll down. We do have a image of this piece of trash. So, obviously, I guess he has a history. Let's see. I was at work and this guy came in with an assault rifle and just started shooting. A man who was gasping for air outside of the building told the Post shortly after the bullets started flying. Chilling images showed the gunman, who's from Las Vegas, calmly scrolling across Park Avenue's building entry with an assault rifle at his side before carrying out the carnage. Let's see here. There's a picture, once again, of that piece of trash. And then we have the image of the gun itself that was used in this horrific incident. At least 1 police officer at the scene was shot in the back, once again showing that this guy was nothing more than a coward. And he was the officer that died at the hospital. 4 civilians were also gunned down. Several others were injured. After opening fire, the piece of trash barricaded himself inside the skyscraper and was discovered dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound on, like we said, the 33rd floor, where other victims were found. Someone asked Resonate, what's special about the 33rd floor? I'll wait for Resonate to respond to that. But we all know what's up with the number 33. The piece of trash was seen splayed out on the ground, apparently already dead, in another photo obtained by the Post. That's what you're looking at right now. He's blurred out there in the image. But that is the image from where he was discovered, once again, on the 33rd floor. Absolutely tragic. It wasn't immediately clear what company on the 33rd floor even houses. The piece of trash, who is believed to have acted alone, and let's see here, goes back over what the commissioner said. We already reported about that. MAGA Maha Libertarians says that just in time for the coming campaigns. Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what's really upsetting about all this is that I believe that we're going to be seeing more of this in the future, which is very, very tragic, very upsetting. Let's see. And there's a picture of some officers as well. New York City police officers hiding behind taking cover behind their vehicles. Police recovered the piece of trash's rifle, a Palmetto State Armory AR-15 assault rifle. Well, of course it was an AR-15. So there we go again. I mean, just absolutely tragic. Make America Green Again says the Masons, I guess he means the Freemasons, will have you believe that Rolling Rock Lager is a little nip and has a 33 on the label. So, well, not exactly sure, but I guess. Let's see here. A vehicle with Nevada license plates registered to the piece of trash was found at the scene. And he also had a concealed firearms permit from Las Vegas with a 2027 expiration date, according to a picture of the license obtained by the New York Post. Photos posted to X show who is purported to be a frantic Blackstone employee stacking couches and other furniture in front of an office entrance during the rampage. One man, person who apparently works in the Park Avenue Tower, was seen sitting on a marble stoop outside nearby the building, basically hyperventilating with bandages around their hands hours after the first shots had rang out. I was at work and this guy came in with an assault rifle and started shooting. I was in the lobby at work, said the man. Another man was standing on the street nearby when he heard gunshots ring out, watched in shock as armed police flooded the building. I was on one block away and I heard shots being fired. Then a bunch of police, they came to neutralize it. I went to the Citizen app and it says active shooting. A lot of police started to come. I mean, it's crazy. The blocks surrounding the building were flooded with police cars, fire engines, ambulances, first responders. While, like we said earlier, helicopters filled the skies overhead. There's a couple of other officers there. And footage from the scene showed officers hastily performing CPR on an apparent victim after hauling his limp body in the middle of the street. Absolutely tragic, ladies and gentlemen. Some more pictures and images of the officers taking cover behind their vehicles. The FBI and bomb squad has also responded to the scene. Mayor Adams has been briefed on the incident and cautioned New Yorkers to avoid the area. The 36-year-old slain officer was from the 47th precinct, but was working a paid detail for the owner of the building at the time of the shooting. Our condolences go to him, his family. This is not the way that we wanted Monday night to start out. Resonate says in situations like this, it's always imperative to notice important numbers. Hold on, let me see here. Let me go back to that. Let me see if I can. Let me see here. Can we put that on screen? There we go. In situations like this, it is always imperative to notice important numbers that are significant to the occult and secret societies. There is rarely ever a random occurrence. 33 is one of those numbers. Bach Precision says, wow, New York City is cooked. Never good news from that place now. Someone just posted his high school football interview. Wonder if he was targeting the NFL floors. That's what Collected Disconnect says. Possibly. I mean, the NFL was in the building. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. Not something that we wanted to be reporting on this evening. Also saying about the officer, he's been on the force since December of 2021. He leaves behind a wife who is 8 months pregnant, according to a high-ranking police source. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, not the type of news that we had intended to discuss this evening. Sad and awful. Yeah, that's right. It is sad. It is awful. I mean, but let's see here. Oh, there's some protesters out there as well, but we're not going to get into them. Absolutely tragic, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely tragic. Like I said, definitely not what we wanted to talk about. Oh, wait a minute. That was the article that I did want to bring up next. Hold on. Let me see if I can go get that again. All right, there we go. Who is Shane Tamura? What we know about the New York City shooting suspect, piece of trash, apparently targeting NFL headquarters. The gunman behind Monday night's mass shooting at a high-rise office tower in Manhattan, a building that houses the NFL's New York headquarters, has been identified as 27-year-old Shane Devon Tamura, like I said, that we call the piece of trash, who is a 27-year-old man from Las Vegas, according to law enforcement sources, accused of killing at least 5 people so far, an NYPD officer, injuring several more. Like I said, the 44-floor skyscraper is home to tenants Blackstone, KPMG, Bank of America, and the NFL. Like I said, footage had him calmly walking into the building. And sources told the press that his assault rifle was blood-stained and that he appeared to have carried out the attack with intent. He reportedly fired indiscriminately, creating widespread panic among workers and leading to a building-wide lockdown. 6 others were seriously injured. Authorities say the number of victims could still rise as more information does become available. Absolutely tragic. Now, here's what's interesting. Once a standout high school football running back in California, the piece of trash gave a local media interview in his teens that painted a starkly different picture from the man now associated with one of the deadliest shootings in New York City in recent years. He had a valid concealed carry permit from Nevada. His vehicle bearing Nevada license plates was found parked near the building, like we already discussed. No known connection between the piece of trash and the building or its tenants has yet been established. However, sources suggest the shooter may have intentionally targeted the high-profile location. Like we said, he was discovered dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound on the 33rd floor. And the motive behind his rampage remained under investigation. There's a video there, but we're not going to play that. We don't want to give this piece of trash any more media than he's already getting. especially killing a police officer who has a wife and who is 8 months pregnant. Absolutely tragic. Make America Green Again says we can do better. We can do better. We should be able to do better. But I expect this just to steamroll and just continue. You know what this does, though, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I'll get to that in a few moments. What's the connection between BlackRock and mass murders? Well, Blackstone, not BlackRock. Two things that are different. Emergency services continue to assess the full scale of the tragedy while federal and state authorities are reviewing the piece of trash's background, digital footprints for signs of planning or ideological motive. Absolutely tragic. Maga Maha says, sounds more like a psyop. Sounds more like a psyop. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, not what I wanted to talk about this evening. We had a whole slew of other articles and things we were going to discuss, but I cleaned the entire slate, and I said, you know what? We're not going to go over any of that. I told Jordan, and I told Jordan that we're just going to focus on this. Rezo Nate says BlackRock and Blackstone were started as the same company. Rezo Nate, if you have any more information on that, feel free to keep texting that in the chat. BlackRock is, of course, a shareholder of the company. The Real Deal asks, how are you doing tonight, Puppet? Well, me personally, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay, should I say. Did I ever tell you what fine means? I heard a psychiatrist say this years ago. You know, because people always just say, well, how are you doing? Well, I'm fine. I'm fine. You know what fine means? Fine means effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And we can all say that we have all been at least fine once. Sometimes we're fine several times a day. Effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That's what fine means. I try not to say that I'm doing fine because I know what fine means. Absolutely tragic. So I say that I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm doing well. And I mean, well, what can you do, ladies and gentlemen? What can you do? Like I said, I cleaned the slate off of everything else that we had discussed, that we were going to discuss tonight. Just wanted to focus on this. It's kind of somber this evening, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, we have this issue with the assault rifle. We say assault rifle, but it is an AR-15. How convenient. And what else is convenient, ladies and gentlemen, is that something like this does exactly what the news and the people in charge want it to do. And that's take away from the gift that keeps on giving over the last 3 weeks. And that is all of the stuff coming out about Jeffrey Epstein. If there's one thing that will be able to get the Epstein story off the front pages, it is an active shooter in the middle of New York City, killing a police officer and 4 other people, possibly more. But this just plays right into the hands for them to get that story off of the front page and get the idea of gun control back at the top of the ledger. Very upsetting. Very upsetting. I see that we do have 70 people here joining in at the moment. Do want to thank all of you for watching. Phone number to text right down there at the bottom. Text 127 to 804-430-5505. Like I said, this was not something that I had planned to talk about. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Comic-Con. Listen. What I mean is San Diego Comic-Con. Have a few people that I know that were there over the weekend, and I want to hear their stories about Comic-Con and just change the pace a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I had a whole bunch of other stories that I was going to go over, but then this happened. Like I said, this just happened a few hours ago. So, of course, I had a whole docket. I had a whole bunch of other stories. Some of them that I'm going to save until, let's say, maybe Wednesday night, I guess. But, you know, as we end up closing up the shop, I do want to bring in the producer. Jordan, you're there, sir. How are you?
Hey, Sam. Not too bad. It's very unfortunate what happened in New York. My heart goes out to all the loved ones of the victims, and yeah, it's terrible.
Now you're north of the border. You're in Canada, right?
Correct.
Now, do you guys ever have stuff like this happening there?
Rarely to this magnitude, I'd say.
Right.
Guns don't flow as freely here. Definitely not. And they're definitely not as common, I'd say. So that obviously keeps the numbers down, but just in general, there's not typically too many shooter scenarios, maybe gang violence, or something like a shootout with the cops for something with drugs or gangs or something like that. But for a lone shooter just to go and do something like a terrorist like this, no, not very often. Not very often.
Well, it's because all of you guys up above the border are actually nice people. So you're known as very nice people all around the world. So, but this just seems to keep happening, and how convenient, like I was just mentioning a few moments ago, that this all of a sudden wipes the whole Epstein thing right off the top front page. Don't you think?
Right. Well, yeah. Maxwell just finished up her second day with Todd Blanche at the Justice Department. So there's a lot going on there. We know Trump is doing backflips not to have these files released. He's been teasing and playing catch and release and just messing around with us. And then when push comes to shove, now he's talking about maybe releasing grand jury stuff, but that's not where the meat is. I mean, the meat is primarily in the civil files, as well as the general Epstein file, so to speak. So he knows what we want, and he's playing games. So
continuing to gaslight, still just gaslight, kicking the can down the road, I guess is what they call it.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, we have this tragedy that happens, and nobody's going to be paying attention to it, at least not for a couple of days, at least. They're going to be talking about gun legislations. There's no reason for you to have an AR. There's no reason for you to have those high-powered assault rifles. I mean, you could hear them just talk. You can already hear what they're going to be saying.
Yeah,
and the fact. Yep, go ahead.
So, and I mean, whether it means anything or not, the fact that it was on the 33rd floor, and Blackstone is somewhat involved. It's going to have some of the people in the community, so to speak, their alarm bells ringing off. So, yeah, it'll absolutely distract a lot of people for how long, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I do see this one. Probably, you guys probably have more moose attacks in Canada than anything. So.
Oh, true that. True that.
No,
For sure. I've almost hit a moose. Yeah.
You really? Yeah. Well, it's interesting here in America. If you hit a deer, I mean, it'll mess up your car. So I have a friend of mine who just recently he hit a deer. Front end of his car got completely totaled. But hitting a moose? Oh my gosh!
Bit of a different story usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be terrible. Oh, here's another one. Maxwell has been subpoenaed to testify in Florida regarding her involvement in the Epstein case. That's August 11th. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm taking the whole month of August off. I'm having a sabbatical. Like I'm taking it off. It's just been way too much going on. Have this whole Sam-The-Vote-A-Thon thing going. I need a break. I need to go to the beach.
Well, we'll celebrate that victory, and we can both take a month off.
That's it. That's it. And we won't even find out till about mid-September. That's when.
Shoot.
Yeah,
right.
I know. So it's like good. Well, we're still gonna take
a preemptive vacay.
Preemptive vacay. That's right. Let's see here. Someone else says something. Saw a bear cub wearing pants standing around a fire during the Canadian convoy. That's Canada for you. Let's see here. We have another one. There we go. That's what you were just talking about a few moments ago. They probably made a point of mentioning Palmetto State because they've been advertising on Conspiracy Podcast. Have you been noticing that with anything?
Palmetto State?
Oh, that is the AR gun manufacturer.
Oh, right. Oh.
I haven't really been. I don't really watch a lot of conspiracy podcasts.
I mean, yeah, I haven't heard of any. I mean, I know Tucker Carlson promotes like some sort of handgun alternative weapon, but I've never heard any podcasts that are straight up selling guns.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, here's an interesting one. Blanche might only be talking as the president's lawyer. Is that possible?
I mean, no, I highly doubt that. They would not.
So what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that then? You said you highly doubt it. So can you go into that for a moment?
We do know Todd Blanche has done legal work for Trump before, but if he was acting on only as the president's lawyer, I don't think he would be kind of standing on a soapbox and telling everybody what he's doing. Right. Especially because I think Trump's goals in this are nefarious, it seems, and he wants to cover something up. So I think he would be keeping that closer to the chest. So I think this could be something that Trump would not even prefer. Would be my guess.
Well, I did see today that Joe Rogan said that the whole Epstein thing is a line in the sand for all the gaslighting. I was like, well, hey, welcome to my take about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So we were talking about that 2 weeks ago when we started the vote-a-thon. I was saying all of that.
That's true.
But yeah. So anyways, it was like I said, we did have some other stories, and we will hold on to some of those for later in the week. We'll get to some of those.
Yeah, we've got some good ones, so we'll hang on to those for you guys.
Absolutely. But before we head out here, Jordan, you do have your own podcast. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so we have the Divulgence podcast. Like I mentioned, we're not doing new episodes yet, but we're getting back in the kitchen and starting to cook again. So you can check out the Divulgence podcast on YouTube, at Divulgence Pod on Twitter, and divulgencepod@gmail.com if you want to send me an email.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to that. None of that microwave stuff. This is crock pot goodness. We don't want to have none of those microwave radiated
gabbage.
Gabbage. That's exactly right. Gabbage. Yeah, microwave gabbage. This is crock pot goodness that you have coming up on the Divulgence podcast. But hey, Jordan, listen, I just want to thank you for all your work, sir. And
worries, Sam.
we'll be back tomorrow night, of course, chatting about Comic-Con. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk about San Diego. Have you ever been to
Yeah,
San
that'll be
Diego?
fun.
Have you done? Do you ever used to go to
I've never been to San Diego. I've been to Toronto Comic-Con, and I've done the Fan Expo a few times, which is like the Canadian version of Comic-Con in a way.
Right.
And a few other things, but never the San Diego one. I've always wanted to make it to the San Diego one. Obviously, it's a big one and it's an iconic one, but not yet.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm excited to chat about that. No matter what happens tomorrow, there's any kind of nonsense that goes down. I've told myself and I've told my guest, no politics, no news. We're just going to focus on the good times at San Diego Comic-Con, what they saw, what they heard,
Cool.
what was exciting, what came out of it, and all of that fun stuff. But Jordan, thanks so much for all your work again, and we will chat tomorrow night, sir.
Thanks, Sam.
Absolutely. That is Jordan from the Divulgence podcast. Collected Disconnect says, is Laser Pants the guest? Well, you're going to have to just wait and see. You're just going to have to wait and see. I have two buddies of mine who were there. And right now, currently, we have them scheduled to join us tomorrow night. And it's very exciting. Just make sure that you join us tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss tomorrow night's show. It will be a great time with some really great people. Two YouTube channels that are going through the stratosphere when it comes to viewers, engagement, all of that fun stuff. Resonate says Mega Man toys are in the mail now. See you tomorrow, Sam. Yep, we will see you as well. And everybody else who's watching, over 70 people at the moment, watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X across all social media channels. That's at Sam Newsman all over social media, and also being mirrored on Exertus's channels as well. So I want to thank all of you for joining in tonight. Make sure you're following me at Sam Newsman. Once again, make sure that you do text the number 127 to 804-430-5505. That's 127-2804-430-5505. You want to do that every single day until August the 3rd. Go.richmond.com/thebest. If you want to go ahead and make another vote using your email, you can do that. Go.richmond.com/thebest. Scroll down to entertainment. When you click on entertainment, you're then going to scroll down some more. Click on best local media, best local morning radio show. And then from there, you're going to click on my name, Sam Newsman, WDCE. And once again, like I said, that allows you to have a second vote. A second vote. Like I said, so you can vote with your cell phone and everybody else's cell phone. And then you can also vote with your email address. But yeah, it's just it's been one of those days, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of people who've lost loved ones this evening. And I mean, not just this tragedy, but I mean, people lose loved ones all the time. And I often say that a lot of times we get so involved with our own lives and just things outside of our control that we forget that we all are truly blessed. We have people in our lives that maybe we haven't talked to or have communicated with in a while. Now's the time to do that. Grab your children, hug them tighter before you go to bed. Love on them. Tell them that you love them. And recognize that we all are truly blessed. More blessed than sometimes we even realize that we are. I have a quote here from Mr. Rogers. He says, I remember after my grandfather's death, seeing Dad in the hall with tears streaming down his face. I don't think I had ever seen him cry before. I'm glad I did see him cry, because it helped me know that it was okay for men to cry. It is okay to cry. And like I said, our heart goes out to the families who have lost loved ones all across America, all around the world. And specifically tonight, with the tragedy that has happened in New York City. Once again, text the number 127 to 804-430-5505. That's 127 to 804-430-5505 every single day until August the 3rd, because that little number is the key to hack the planet for broadcast history. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end as we always do with a little jingle about the state of the world. Oh, through political correctness, we can't see life as it may be. That world hidden from you and me. I just laugh and start to sing. Ha 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 ha. It's sideshow infotainment. Politicians and news anchors. And talking points that make my eardrums bleed. Oh, that Game of Thrones is what they play. A house of cards just day by day. Voters losing every way. It's just like I always say. Oh, it's sideshow infotainment. Politicians and news anchors. And talking points that make my eardrums bleed. The most trusted puppet in media, ha 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 ha, is me. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam, Newsman.